going to share with you some universal mom sayings. Now, how this works is I'm going to start it and see if you can fill it in. Okay, ready? Who do you think? You are. Okay, you got it. Look at me when I'm talking to you. Don't roll your eyes. I can't believe you all know these, right? I'm going to give you to the count of, oh, some of you get 10, some get 3. I only got 3. Don't put that thing in your mouth you don't know where it's been. Wear clean underwear in case get into an accident and have to go to the hospital. Don't cross your eyes like that. One day they'll stay that way. Why? Because I said so. That's why. If such and such jumped off a cliff, would you jump too? If you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. Wait till your father gets home. Now, you all didn't have the same mother, did you? It sounds that way. It's kind of amazing that these are those universal mom sayings. Yeah, I find that quite interesting. So, today is Mother's Day, and we are honoring and appreciating our birth mothers and all those that filled the role of mothering for us. So anyone who is a birth mother, has given birth, please stand so that we can honor you in that role of being a birth mother. And to those in the cyber sanctuary as well. So I want to thank you for your taking on that role. That was one I knew as a young age there would be enough unloved beings in the world, and I actually worked in a group home for abused and neglected kids for 14 years. So I had the mothering role, but only for an 8-hour shift. It wasn't 24/7 for the rest of life, but it was a fulfilling position. So we also want to give appreciation to the non-mothers, okay? Because mothering isn't just about giving birth. It can be so much more with all types of people entering into that mothering role. So this is by Erma Bombeck. How many of you know Erma Bombeck? Yeah, we're all pretty much in the age of knowing Erma. This is a salute to non-mothers. Let's hear it out there for the non-mothers. There aren't any songs sung for them. There aren't any appropriate cards written for them. And there aren't any special days set aside for them. But these folks exist. These are the people who experience all the joy, the caring, and the pain of motherhood. They just aren't there at delivery. Some non-mothers are disguised as teachers who spend more time with the children than perhaps their mothers. They contribute ambition, hope, expertise, time, and a sense of self to the child. After all, isn't that what a mother is all about? Other non-mothers are older brothers and sisters of a child who shares a bedroom, pizza, and their lives. They may take them to the bathroom, the movies on Sunday, and hold them when they might be rejected by a parent and there is no one else to cling to. Isn't that what a mother is all about? There's the father non-mother who pinch hits occasionally at getting meals, mopping up, or sitting through a pageant when mother can't do it. He offers a backup system of support, sharing, and security. Isn't that what a mother is all about? Some non-mothers have experience. They're called grandparents. And whether their custody of a child is occasional, part-time, or full-time, they add to the child another dimension of another time, another set of values an appreciation for things that endure. Isn't that what a mother is all about? There are non-mothers who touch a child's life in a million ways, who at first glance may not seem like they would fit that role. An angry motorist whom a child has never seen before yells at him to get his tricycle out of the street. A guidance counselor who will tell a child to get off their butt and get to work. A shop owner who chews out the child for lifting a piece of penny candy. Well, this was written a while ago. At a moment when he needed it, he was picked up and pointed in the right direction by someone who took the time to care about him. Isn't that what a mother is all about? I like that. It helps to open up the idea of our non-mothers who are in a mothering role. So have you ever stopped to think about all the roles that a mother actually has? I'm going to name a few of them, and I want you to think about it as you being a birth mother, or if you're not a birth mother, have you ever done any of these or been any of these? Perhaps you have been a caregiver or a chef or a cook. Have you ever been a teacher, a leader, or a disciplinarian? Perhaps you've been a chauffeur and given someone a ride. Maybe a maid and helped clean up. Maybe an organizer or leader or planner. Maybe you've been a wage earner, a confidant, a role maker, an advice giver, or more. If you've been any of these, please raise your hand. Okay, I see every hand going up because here's the truth. Every one of us has done a mothering role. Mothers do beyond what I could even imagine. So how many of you know when Mother's Day was first celebrated? You didn't bring your notes from last year. Oh, good. Tashima knows. So here's the story in brief. It was first celebrated in 1908 by Anna Jarvis, who held a memorial for her mother, Ann Jarvis, in Grafton, West Virginia. Her mother, Ann Jarvis, had been a peace activist who treated wounded soldiers on both sides of the Civil War. And so she passed in 1905, but she had the first celebration in 1908. And so her daughter kept saying, we need to do something for the mothers, right? And due to the efforts by Anna Jarvis, the first state to officially recognize a Mother's Day was in West Virginia, where her mom and she had resided, and that was in 1910. So who knows who the president was in 1914? Yeah, I know. Starts with a W. Woodrow Wilson, yes. He actually signed a proclamation. The second Sunday in May would be the national holiday known as Mother's Day. However, Jarvis, who got this passed, became resentful because it became very commercialized. And she was not happy at all. She tried to rescind Mother's Day, okay? She was upset with all the profit seekers. She organized boycotts, threatened lawsuits, crashed a candy makers convention in Philadelphia, later was arrested for disturbing the peace when she protested at the American War mothers who were raising money selling the flower of Mother's Day, carnations. Oh, did you know any of that? No? Okay. So Jarvis's holiday has actually been adopted by countries around the world and is celebrated. So today, we're appreciating and celebrating mothers in all forms of mother. However, I want to speak to you about the deeper dimension of mothering. And that would be the divine feminine, the mother God. In Genesis, it states, now this is what it actually states, and God created man in his image, in the image of God. He created him, male and female. He created them. There's all too many he's in there for me. I was like, the first time I ever heard she, I was so happy because it's like, here's the thing. I'll tell you more about what the divine is. It's not a he. It's not a she. It's genderless and genderful, right? I'm going to rewrite this and say, and God created humans in its image, in the image of itself. It created us, male and female. It created them. So you do know that in the ancient indigenous pagan and earth-based cultures, long before the male-dominated world came to be, the worship was of the goddess. The goddess was what gave birth. And so back in those days, there was a lot less war, hatred, cruelty. It was all about the love and the nurturing. So the worship of the goddess and the divine feminine happened and was the way of life thousands of years before the notion of Father God. And as the male-dominated cosmology grew, it repressed the feminine to such an extent that women were owned, and still are, exploited, put down. The feminine has been put down so much, and the rise of violence, cruelty, exploitation, hatred, inhumanity. How many of you think that we need the feminine back? Come on, we do. We need, and here's the truth. In unity, what is the divine? We believe that the divine is not a person. The divine is the creative principle made up of the masculine energy of thought and the creative energy of the feminine. We are all created in the image and likeness of the creative principle. We have within us that male energy. A male energy is the thought. It's like a seed, but it has to be planted in the heart of the feminine. It's all about the principle. Each one of us is the embodiment of feminine and masculine creativity, the creative principle. And that's where you get the form of being in human form. We are always creating, but it's not something that we don't usually understand because we've been very male-dominated and it's in the cultures of religion. So we are made in the image and likeness. And I love this writing. I'm pretty sure it's by Ernest Holmes. He says, very often when we pray, we begin our prayers with our Father. But must there not be equal with the fatherhood of the infinite spirit, also motherhood? For in the creative process of life, there is a blending of the two. There must be the spirit, which speaks the word of creation, and there must be the cosmic matrix, which molds the divine idea into form and experience. We are all mothers giving birth to new thought, new ideas, and new events. And why should we doubt that the same creative power which prepares the mother to give birth to her baby will not also prepare us physically, mentally, to give birth to a new experience? For in a certain sense, the mind of each and every person is both father and mother to the events and circumstances and conditions that take place in our lives. In a very definite sense, the mind becomes impregnated with ideas. And in just as definite a sense, the impregnated mind nurtures the idea into form. We cannot doubt that the same intelligence provides the means through which every birth is to take place, whether it is the physical birth of a baby or the new invention. It comes from the same source, the creative process. In just such a manner, our thought and hopes and ambitions, hid in the soil of faith and expectancy, will bear fruit of their own kind. I love the thought that we are surrounded by the womb of nature, which gives birth to all ideas. Have you ever heard anything so beautifully stated? Just say no. Come on. No. Oh, work with me. So it's all about understanding something that we might be new to hearing and to seeing and to contemplating. And it's all about understanding who and what we are. It's understanding. And I'm going to be sharing just briefly about one of the 12 powers, which is a spiritual ability that Charles Fillmore looked at when he studied the Bible metaphysically. He looked at the Bible and said every person, place, and situation is an aspect of ourselves. And so he looked at the 12 disciples and he recognized each had a power or a trait or an ability that we all have, but we don't know what that is and how to use it because we're using these traits and these powers and these abilities. So the one that I'm talking about today and next week is about the power or ability of understanding. Now, the definition in the Power Up Your Life book, understanding is the power to comprehend and interpret knowledge, to make cognitive connection. Now, in my mind, understanding is a feminine principle. Why? Because it is the intellectual, masculine knowledge that then goes into the feminine heart of understanding. You can have knowledge, but when it goes into the heart of the feminine, then you have understanding. It's that heart of understanding, the feminine heart of understanding when you get it. You know, you always, when you have that moment where you're like, oh, I got it. I got that, right? You all get that? Yeah? Come on, I got it. Just say I got it. All right. So I'm going to share with you the aspect of understanding today, and it's called empathy. Okay? Empathy is the action of understanding. It is being aware of or being sensitive to another person's experience or feeling, imagining or having the capacity to imagine the feelings of another person without actually having them. So how important do you think empathy is in life? It's 100%, right? I mean, how do you have relationships without empathy? So how do we gain more empathy and understanding with others, ourselves, and with the divine? Well, the answer, I believe, is in this book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Powerful Lessons in Personal Change by Stephen Covey. Anyone read this ever? This is an awesome book. And the answer to this question about empathy and understanding is in habit number 5, which is seek first to understand. Okay? Now, think about when you grew up. You learned about reading and writing and speaking, but how much did you learn about listening? Were you taught listening? What training or education have you had that enables you to listen so that you really and deeply understand another human being from that person's overall frame of reference? See, here's the problem. Most people do not listen with the intent to understand. They listen with the intent to reply. Come on, we're all guilty. Hello, I want you to observe yourself this week when you're having a conversation. I know I do it. And I'm like, but I'm bringing this to your awareness so that we can maybe shift what we're doing. So most people are either speaking or preparing to speak. They're filtering everything through their own paradigms, reading their autobiography into other people's lives. When another person speaks, we're usually listening at one of 4 levels. Listen to this. Level number 1, we're ignoring another person. We're not really even listening. We may practice pretending as another. Oh, yeah, right. Uh-huh. How about selective listening? We're just hearing parts of the conversation. We do this when we hear the constant chatter of a child. Or we might be practicing attentive listening, paying attention to the words, but we don't usually go, and I think I said 4 levels. Actually, there's 5. The highest form is empathetic listening. When I say empathetic listening, I mean listening with the intent to understand. I mean seeking first to understand. Empathetic listening gets inside another person's frame of reference. Empathetic listening is when you listen with your ears, but also you listen with your eyes and with your heart. You listen for feeling and meaning. You listen for behavior. You sense, you intuit, and you feel. It is so powerful because it gives you accurate information. Instead of projecting your own autobiography and assuming the thoughts and the feelings and the motives and interpretation, you're dealing with the reality inside another person's head and heart. You're listening to understand. You're focused on receiving the deep connection and communication of another human soul. That's empathetic listening. So, you want to know the steps to have empathetic listening? Jeez, I'm going to work with me today. So I'm going to give you an acronym, but it's going to be off of the words seek first to understand. Let's just say it. Seek first to understand. So seek, that's the S. Set your intention. I have an intention. My purpose is to listen, to understand you. Set your intention when you're going into a conversation. Okay? Seek first, the F for out of first. First means to forget yourself and focus on the other person. Okay? I need to forget my own inner dialogue and focus on the other person. Seek first. 2, the T in 2. Take the time to listen. You need to take the time. And you're listening with your mind for content. You're listening with your heart for feeling. And you're listening with your soul to the meaning of what someone is saying. So, we're setting our intention. We're forgetting ourselves and focusing on the other person. We're taking the time to listen. And use understanding language. The 3 parts of that. Number 1, you want to rephrase what you would think that they're saying. You want to get the feeling of what's going on. Oh, you seem agitated or you seem upset. And you don't want to necessarily use their same words. That's parroting. And then the 3rd part, it's very important. Check, ask them, is this what you're saying? Is this what you mean? So, seek ye first. Not ye first. That's another one. Seek first to understand. So I'm going to share in closing, empathetic listening, again, helps us connect deeper to other people, to ourselves, and to the divine. And I'm going to share with you something I have never shared before. It happens to be a conversation I had with the Divine Mother in a journal writing. And I'm only going to read portions of it. And it's pretty personal, and I'm not going to read my parts, but this is written, the Divine Mother and I are having a conversation. The Divine Mother says, I have many names. You know this. At this time, you know me as Mother Mary in the Let It Be song. And you know Mother Mary in the statue you purchased. However, the name is not as important as what I represent and can do and be and am for you, Liz, as well as for the others you serve and have this need to connect with me. See, I didn't have a relationship with the Divine Mother. We developed it through writing. She writes, I am the Divine Mother. All life comes from me, comes through me. All life returns to me. I am the life source, the life-giving source and substance of all this is. As a mother, I am the nurturer and protector of my children. You, Liz, are my child. I have always been with you. I can never not be with you. I have You can find me in the human form of others. You see, I need others to be my expression. I have and live through many, and actually as all people. However, many do not have a clue and no reference to and with the Divine Mother, especially in the Western culture and society, which you know, but time is changing. The problem is that I have no real form to do this for you, with you, except by others. For me to put my arms around you, to hold you, to see you, to love you, I need human form. This I have done by putting myself in all human form. Unfortunately, many, if not all, have no awareness of my presence as Divine Mother within themselves. In your teaching, there's a cognitive recognition of unity, your oneness with the divine. But there's not so much the awareness that you are the divine fully and completely. You need to know that your desires are my desires too, and that I live in all beings. I am your Divine Mother, and I can never forsake or abandon you. You are my precious one. You are my Holy One. It is you whom I love and adore. You are a beautiful expression of me and a mother's love. You haven't been so aware of this, yet you know and experience my love for and with others. This is the work. This is more the work you will be doing with others, Liz. Your work as a minister will be based on love, in love, as love, with the law to support this love. There is a divine feminine mother that lives and breathes in each and every one of us. Most of us don't have that awareness. I want you to, in the next song that is sung, I want you to think about, you can think about your birth mother or anyone who's mothered you, but I want you to take this song as your song to the divine feminine, to the mother of us all, because she loves you, because she loves all of us. She is the love inside of us, and so it is.